What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, shout out to the brother Aram for once again showing love to the channel via the PayPal. Much respect to him for showing love, as he has many times with his donations and with great video requests. And in this particular video, he asked me basically how many points per game would Bernard King and or Larry Bird average in today's game. And, you know, when it comes to Bernard King, right? Bernard King was probably, although he only won one scoring title, which was the 84-85 season. And unfortunately, that season was cut short due to the devastating knee injury, which almost ended his career. He had to come back. He made an improbable comeback, I should say. And I think it took him something around 2 years of surgery, rehabilitation, and a grueling, painful process to re-strengthen that knee to be able to be competitive as far as basketball. At that point in time, that type of injury he suffered was considered career-ending. He was probably the first player to ever successfully come back from that type of injury. And this is back when they had knee surgeries, they was far more invasive. They opened up your entire knee. So he came back. He wasn't quite as explosive, but of course he did come back to the point where during the 1990-91 season, he was an all-star with the Washington Bullets. He averaged over 28 points per game. And he memorably dropped a 49-point game against the Bulls, I think it was, or 47-point game. But anyway, let's talk about Bernard King. We're talking about peak Bernard King, right? We're talking about a Bernard King that arguably should have won MVP over Larry Bird in the 83-84 season when he averaged almost 27 points per game for the New York Knicks. To give you an idea about how explosive Bernard King was as a scorer, I think it was the semifinal series in 84. I think it was. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the semifinal series where Bernard King in 7 games against the Celtics averaged, I think it was over 40 points per game. I think it was 43 points per game in that series, one of the highest scoring averages of any player in the history of the NBA. He also shot over 60% from the floor in that series. And only one other player in the history of the game, Michael Jordan, ever had a series where he averaged over 40 points per game on 60% shooting. And even with the great Michael Jordan, he did it against the Miami Heat in 1992, the opening round series. Bernard King did it against the best team in the Eastern Conference. So I say all that to say this. Bernard King was a scorer who had a lightning quick jump shot and a quick release. If he was playing in today's game, he would be an absolute terror in transition. So just imagine him with the Thunder or imagine him with the Pacers, right? He was not a three-point threat, although I tend to think that if he played in today's game, he would take them on occasion, but it would never be the strong part of his game. Like he'd probably be like a Russell Westbrook type guy from outside, 30% at the best. Like he's just not really part of his game, right? I think he might take 2 to 4 a game, but his strength would be his mid-range and his ability to score in the post. In the post, he would be unstoppable. He was able to score at angles, the quickness, the explosiveness, and he didn't need much room, is what I'm trying to get at too. He didn't need much room. I think Bernard would be one of those scorers where he would consistently average, depending upon how good the team is, I see him averaging 28 to 32 points a game, right? But I also think that he'd be one of those guys that would have these burst type games, like the type of performances that were reminiscent of what Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan was doing in their primes. Like what I mean by that is I think that he would have these games where uh, he would average. I mean, I put up like wait. Huh? Wait, what you want? What you want? I'm recording right now. I think he would have these games where he would score like 40 points in 3 quarters. 50 points in 3 quarters. He would have those type of performances. 40 points in a half. May finish with 58 or something like that. But yeah, I definitely see scoring titles in his future. I think he would play. He would be just as effective scoring wise, and with defenses kind of handicapped. Man, I think that he would have multiple scoring titles in today's game. Multiple scoring titles. I think he would get the foul line a little bit more often. You know what I'm saying? I think he would take about 23 shots a game. I think he would shoot well over 50% from the floor. And I think he would, like I said, average over, depending upon how good the team is, 28 to 32 points a night. Maybe even 34, depending upon if it's a good team or not. Larry Bird's a little trickier because Larry was a great scorer. But remember, he played on really great teams. So that cut into his shot attempts. If he was playing on a great team, then I think he would take a few more threes, though Larry Bird was never in love with that shot. He said that on multiple occasions. So if he averaged 24 points a game in his regular career in the 80s and early 90s, then I think we can conceivably put up 26 points a game in today's league, right? But if he was playing on a bad team or a mediocre team, then there's really no reason to not believe that he could average 28 to 30. That's just me. Now, if it's a bad team and he's the one guy shooting, I think it would hurt his efficiency. I think he would shoot 40, 46, 47% from the floor, right? But maybe even 45% because the defenses will be keying in on him and he'd be forced to take some bad shots. But he'd be a great 3-point shooter, just wouldn't take as many. Kind of like a Steve Nash situation. 80, 87, 92% from the line. I think he would shoot a few more free throws now because of the way the rules are than he did when he was playing. Like I said, on bad teams, well over 30 points a night, could win some scoring titles. On a good team, 28, 29, maybe 30. On great teams, I give him 26, 27 points a night. You know what I'm saying? But with Bird, though, I think the ball be in his hands more, and he would rack up a few more assists, and I could see him averaging a triple-double easily. If he averaged 24, 10, and 6 then, with the ball in his hands more consistently, I would see him 26, I would say 26, 10, 10, and 10. Something like that, you know what I'm saying? But that's just how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what you guys think.